Have you noticed something about movies? They only become interesting after one specific incident happens in hero's life, right? As audience, we wait for that shift to happen because that is when the story really transforms. Until that, nothing feels special. We just see their normal life, routines, work, friends and family. So what happens during that transformation? Let's dive into their stories. Let's imagine there are two main characters in this movie, Tom and Jack. Both work at the same sales company, but despite being in the same work environment, they operate from completely different behavioral patterns. Tom lost his father early and became the emotional center of the household at a very young age. His mother overprotected him, avoided questioning his behavior and praised him even without accountability. So instead of learning emotional regulation, he learned that emotional reactions could protect him from criticism. Over time, criticism started feeling like disrespect for him. And instead of self-reflection, he learned to regain control through blame, manipulation, emotional pressure, and superiority. As a result, his confidence became heavily dependent on validation, control, and external reinforcement. Tom became highly focused on maintaining status, control, and a sense of psychological dominance over others. The other character, Jack, grew up in a strict household where status and expectation mattered more than his opinion. Because of that, he constantly felt misunderstood. He learned to question systems instead of blindly following them. Over time, he became independent, emotionally intelligent, and highly self-aware. Criticism hurt him too, but instead of reacting impulsively, he reflected on it. That helped him develop communication skills, boundaries, and emotional intelligence. As a result, his confidence became rooted in competence, growth, and self-development. Now, the movie shifts when Jack and Tom finally collide in the movie. Tom started interacting with Jack, expecting the similar social dynamics he used to get from others, the praise, admiration, and subtle superiority reinforcement. But Jack responds differently. He never showed the need to impress, to compete, or to seek approval from Tom. Tom became unsettled, so he turns the interaction slowly into passive-aggressive, like he uses subtle superiority remarks, indirect comparisons, emotional testing questions, light provocation humor, and advice towards Jack. But instead of reacting emotionally, Jack notices the inconsistency in Tom's behavior pattern. He responds calmly, asks questions for clarity, and maintains firm boundaries. Jack was acknowledging only Tom's work but ignored the other emotional bait and never engaged in his power games. When Tom's charm no longer works, he shifted into creating tensions through emotionally loaded comments publicly and making Tom feel responsible or wrong without direct blame and highlighting superiority, experience, or the authority to appear higher in rank. He tried very hard in attempt to trigger insecurity and competition towards Jack. That moment, Jack directly calls out Tom. Tom experiences it as a personal attack and humiliation. Jack seems one in the game. It is a typical hero-villain dynamic, right? Are you a hero or villain? We can see that Tom's entire identity system depended on emotional reactions from others, the confusion, hesitation, guilt, and insecurity he evoked in others. Whereas Jack's identity system was self-awareness and confidence. His system was in his own control. Here, Jack introduces something completely different to Tom. Non-reactivity, clarity, and boundary setting. So for Tom, instead of when I do X, I get control, he now experiences I do X but nothing works. Tom's whole behavioral pattern broke here. His brain is confused now and can't trust the old pattern like he used to. In fact, there is no hero-villain or good-evil dynamics. These are just behavioral patterns. Here in this movie, the hero just simply removes participation from the villain's game. And when someone stops playing the role that the villain depends on, the villain is forced to confront himself. So the hero represents a more emotionally stable system that is hard to manipulate. That is when William's behavioral pattern changed from this loop to this loop. Now let's get into the real conversation. If Tom never changed the underlying behavioral pattern, what could be his sales behavioral pattern? Behavioral patterns are not created in one moment. Human behaviors develop through parenting, relationships, socioeconomic factors, genetics, intelligence, belief system, media, and more. And behavioral loops, they repeat in every work, client, or personal relationships until they change it. So the pattern is going to be same. The same relationship pattern would eventually become his sales pattern too. So this is the pattern. How is Tom going to close deals? So who can help him? A structured guidance system or an external intervention can help without needing a triggering person or a tragic event in his life. This can come from a coach, manager, mentor, or a structured system that shows the unconscious patterns clearly to this person. But are they qualified enough to do that? That's exactly where a business psychologist comes in to help identify the behavioral pattern and break it through structured intervention, developing new thinking patterns, building new habits, and applying practical exercises for him to break the pattern and perform better. This is where I introduce myself. I am Shafna Kamaruddin, a business psychologist with over 8 years of experience in psychology. I hold a master's in psychology with a clinical specialization and a master's in work psychology and business from Aston Business School, UK. I worked across UK, UAE and India and currently work in Dubai real estate while also providing behavioral coaching. Some patterns build trust and growth like Jack, but some silently damage confidence, connection and performance like Tom. Most people never identify the pattern. They only keep repeating the outcome. If you are struggling in sales, communication or relationships, don't just fix the outcome. Fix the pattern behind it. And if you want a personal breakdown of your own behavioral pattern and how it may be affecting your communication, relationships or sales performance, message me directly or you can book a session with me with the link below. Also, if this kind of contents feel right for you, subscribe my channel and also follow my Instagram account. So I'll be posting more contents. So we'll see you.